clickbait title added. I changed the title of the stream to reading secret US military hacking document. It's not secret because it's approved for public release, distribution unlimited. So this is not a secret, but gotta do the clickbait. This was shared on my subreddit, and somebody said like, oh, look at here, this US military document about the state of the art in vulnerability research, version 3 or 4. It's fairly recent, January 2021, written by a company called 26 Labs. So this was contracted out apparently by the Air Force Research Laboratory to a company. And when I scrolled here and I just like did a quick overview, there's here a report documentation page which listed the authors of this. And when I read this name, I thought, oh, wait, I know her. I mean, I don't really know her. I know her on Twitter. I'm following her on Twitter. So she is one of the authors of this paper. So I thought, hey, look, that's interesting. Who would have thought? I haven't really looked into it. I just looked over the timetable briefly. So I just thought we could check it out and see what this document is about. Is it worth reading? What is it, like the content? We can maybe speculate why the Air Force Research Laboratory, the military, wants information about state-of-the-art vulnerability research. But yeah, it could be interesting. These kind of papers do exist for example, also Google contracted companies to write a browser security paper a few years ago, and I'm actually an author on that as well. Browser. Ours is one of them here, the Q53. If you are interested in the tangled web and these kind of web security things, so client-side web security more likely, and how it relates to browsers and so forth, then our paper here could be maybe interesting. But it's also now 4 years old or so, so obviously some browser tricks and stuff might not work anymore. But yeah, this was something, for example, Google contracted out. So here's just the military wanting to get some experts to tell them, hey, what's the current state of the art of vulnerability research? Okay. But let's see what this is about. It's very curious. It's just like really fun exploring a document like this. Okay. Also, this, I never heard this. Is this proper English? I've never heard this. This edge of the art report. Why is it not this cutting edge report or the state of the art report? Like what the edge of the art report? I've never heard this. It sounds really weird to me, but I guess it's a thing. So this report aggregates the most recent advances in vulnerability research, reverse engineering, and program analysis tools, 116 pages. So we are not going to read this all. Introduction, scope of the document, tools, criteria, techniques, okay. Static analysis, okay. They are introducing here 3 decompilation frameworks, Binary Ninja, IDA Pro, and Ghidra. Then binary differentiation, Hashashin, and deep BinDiff. Okay, wait, so how do we do this? Do we just scroll over this stuff, or do we... Let's just quickly go over the table of contents and look close in it, because I, for example, don't know these two. I mean, deep BinDiff sounds like a fork maybe of BinDiff. I don't know, but Hashashin, I've actually never heard. So, yeah. And kernel static analysis, CRIX, also never heard of it. Dynamic analysis, so here you have debuggers, WinDebugger with time travel debugging, Binary Ninja debugger plugin. That's pretty new. Actually, I've not tried it yet. Curious what they write a bit. And then Plutonium DBG. Also never heard about that. So you can see I'm not very advanced in my vulnerability hacking research stuff. Coverage analysis, Lighthouse I've heard before, and BCOF I think I've also heard before, but also never used. And then we have Frida, which is obviously very popular. Then we have Fuzzing, mutation-based fuzzing, Tortoise Fuzz, and iJohn. Also, I think Tortoise Fuzz I've maybe heard somewhere. Never used this stuff. No clue. Nautilus, never heard of it. HFL, Hypercube. Okay, Nautilus, no clue. No, platform-specific fuzzing, HFL and Hypercube, I don't know. But platform-specific, I guess, means it's for a certain operating system, because Syscaller is for Linux syscall fuzzing. So I know this one. The other two is no clue. And then exploitation techniques, data-oriented attacks, DOP, DOP, and BOPC. To be honest, I am not like up to date with the data-oriented like terminology. I never understood why they have a terminology at all. Like it's but maybe I also don't understand it properly. For like, I don't know, like this differentiation with data-oriented attacks, it's kind of weird to me. But maybe I want to read here more closely. Maybe I understand why they give these specific names. So there's a lots to learn for me in here as well. So I guess let's start scrolling and see what we can find in here. Static analysis. We have relevant tools. They consider relevant tools are IDA, Ghidra, Binary Ninja, Miasm, and BAP2. I know Miasm. I don't know BAP2. But isn't Miasm also for like, what's it called? For symbolic execution, is like an intermediate language. So I guess here it's about, strictly speaking, disassembly that, an assembler converts program from assembly language to machine code, and a disassembler performs the reverse. So a disassembler like Binary Ninja, for example, takes the assembly and not only shows you the disassembly, but maybe translates it also to an intermediate language or something. Yeah, I don't know how deep I want to dig into this paper now. I'm just curious if I know the tools, and maybe I wonder, like, why is this a big section? I feel like, is that like a big important thing in vulnerability research, that you can reassemble things? Because like, and then wondering why is IDA and Ghidra not listed here? Because I understand that for vulnerability research, you might want to patch out some stuff. Maybe for fuzzing, you want to knob out a section just because it's not important for fuzzing and so forth. Like, I understand all that, but do you need more advanced reassembly stuff? And then also, I'm not quite understanding what Anger does in here, because Anger is like a binary analysis framework. But they know each other. So like Perry knows this very well, Anger. Like, didn't they go to the same university? Isn't RPI, or maybe I say dumb shit. No, that's New York, okay. But yeah, they know each other for sure, 100%. Okay, intermediate representations. Here's a good text, actually. Intermediate representations are commonly used in compilers. A familiar example is LLVM. The intermediate IR, what does it stand for? IR, what does it IR stand for? Intermediate representation, maybe? Used in Clang compiler. So yeah, so your C code is translated into LLVM intermediate language, and then that is actually compiled to assembly. And then you can also do fancy like cross-compiling stuff. Once you have the intermediate language, you can also compile to ARM, or you could compile it to Python code or something like this, right? Like, if you have an intermediate language, it's very cool if different things can be turned into that intermediate language, then all of these things can also be turned into all the other stuff. In an intermediate representation IR, yeah, makes sense. Okay. Decompilation. IDA Pro, Ghidra, Binary Ninja. Okay, it's also clear. Static vulnerability discovery. CRICS. There are a number of tools and techniques designed to statically discover vulnerabilities. Sounds interesting. That's a cryptocurrency. Detecting missing checkbugs via semantic and context-aware criticalness and constrained inference. Example, a new missing checkbug found by CRICS. The mischeck against variable SMC IBDEF will cause multiple problems as annotated in the code. Yeah, so this apparently was a paper. I don't know if this was turned into proper code. Unfortunately, with a lot of papers like this, they have like one proof of concept, like kind of these techniques. You come up with them, you find some stuff, you fix the stuff, and now you need new things to find different kinds of vulnerabilities. Yeah, look, it looks like unmaintained, did a proof of concept once for the paper, found some stuff, and it makes no sense to pursue this further because now you found the stuff with it. Okay, static program analysis, control flow recovery. Let's just Google these things just to get like a quick idea of what these things are. Clearly not popular tools when you binary analysis platform. That makes sense. Okay. Kira was such a cool proof of concept thingy. Yeah, GeoHot made a cool project. Let's see if the website is still up. This was like, Kira was released when I just started to get into like CTFs, and I was blown away that somebody could develop such a tool. Like, as far as I remember, GeoHot was an intern at Google Project Zero and developed this tool during Project Zero. And it's a timeless debugger where you run the code and then you could like step forwards and backward through the code and you observe what is like happening. As a beginner, it was very difficult to set up, but it was really cool for some CTF challenges. I'm just looking for other tools, more tools. Okay, decompilation frameworks. So was this just like an overview of the stuff? And now we look more closely at, see, that's nice. Okay, so we have Binary Ninja, very well known from my channel. Hopefully, we used it for Pwn Adventure, for example. They have done a lot of cool shit since I used it back then. I haven't actually checked it out because I don't have a license anymore. But yeah, they've done a lot of cool new features and stuff. With the introduction of Ghidra, there are now 3 actively developed high-quality decompilers available. This represents a significant disruption to a market that has for years had few viable options for effective decompilation. These 3 reverse engineering platforms are in some respects complementary, each having their own benefits and drawbacks. Yeah, this is probably the most important like takeaway, that each of them have like their pros and cons, and whatever you need to do, the other tool might be better, and it makes maybe sense to switch between those things. Have you tried out the new Ghidra debugger yet? No, I have not. I've just heard that it's now there. Binary Ninja is very interesting because they very early on tried to have a very good like architecture of their disassembler, and I guess here they explain it. I'm not sure, do they just list here the newest software? Because like, why does it not list x64 debug, for example, for Windows? I think that is like very often used for in vulnerability research, or I don't know, people. So maybe this paper just lists more newer stuff. I don't know, new developments. I don't know. I haven't tried the Binary Ninja debugger. I really want to at some point. I just don't have a license. Trends. Dynamic analysis has seen a lot of innovation and maturity in recent years. The tools are becoming more powerful, transparent, efficient. At the same time, they are becoming better integrated with platforms such as Binary Ninja and are optimized for interoperability. There have been major updates to existing tools such as WinDebug, Lighthouse, and Frida, as well as the introduction of entirely new tools such as the Binary Ninja Debugger, Plutonium Debug, and bcov. Given the power of dynamic analysis, there's likely to continue rapid improvements in this area. Exploring deep state spaces and fuzzing. That's so cool when you let fuzzers play games. That's so funny. And a nice visualization what fuzzers do. They are just like brute forcing some inputs that lead you somewhere. I don't know how misleading these screenshots are. Like, I don't understand it well enough. We should probably read it to understand. But like, I understand that a fuzzer would try out all these different stuff. Like, what makes this fuzzer special that they don't do that? Why? Like, the upper image makes sense to me for brute forcing inputs, and like then coverage guiding with like trying to get further and further makes sense, and always favoring stuff that got you further. But I don't really understand like why. I would expect it to look like, why is it so different, you know? For example, using simple annotations, we are able to play Super Mario Bros. And to solve hard instances from the CGC challenge dataset. We demonstrate in several case studies how these annotations can be used to explore deeper behaviors of the target application. More specifically, we show how the state space of a software emulator for a trusted platform, complex format parsers, the game Super Mario, a maze, and a hashmap implementation can be efficiently explored by a fuzzer. Consider the code in listing 1 here. It implements a small game in which the player has to navigate a labyrinth by moving in one of the 4 possible directions. It is based on the famous labyrinth demo that is commonly used by the symbolic execution community to demonstrate how a symbolic executor can explore the state space of a maze. In this modified version, it is possible to walk backwards and to stay in the same place. This creates a vast amount of different paths through the program. At the same time, there effectively only 4 branches that can be covered. Thus, the coverage alone is not a good indicator for interesting behavior. In this harder version, even Klee fails to solve the labyrinth. Here it is essential to understand that x and y coordinates are relevant states that need to be explored. In mazes with dead ends, it is even possible to find a solution by trying to increase x or y individually. The combination of both x and y has to be considered to uncover a solution. Since the maze is rather small, at most only a few hundred different xy pairs are reachable. The analyst can instruct the fuzzer to consider any new pair as new coverage. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Coverage figure 2a. Similar scenarios where the user is aware of the precise aspects of the state that is interesting to explore also occur with larger state spaces. One example that demonstrates a similar scenario is the game Super Mario. Again, we mostly care about the player coordinates. However, the space of player coordinates is significantly larger than in the maze game. As a consequence, the analyst needs to be able to provide a goal that the fuzzer can work towards, increase the x coordinate, instead of simply exploring all different states. This way, the fuzzer can discard and infer intermediate results. Okay, yeah, now I slowly understand. Fuzzing traditionally, you want to like get a crash, right? So the fuzzer with coverage guided learns, okay, I got into this function a lot, I need to try to get into this other function, and maybe through random bit flits it found how to get into this other, like to find input that reaches this other function, and then it favors that and it tries to go deeper and so forth until you reach a crash. And a crash is so to say the goal, and what makes the fuzzer progress through certain paths is new coverage, new functions. Now a game, it's not so much about new functions, right? Or in this example, for example, in a maze, you only have like this one function or these few basic blocks. There's like not much, it's not a lot of different functions with coverage. It's the same function, just the state is different. And this is very, very difficult for a fuzzer, because what is now coverage information? You can't simply go by executed blocks, for example. AFL looks at which blocks did you execute. And AFL would execute this block once and would think, okay, I explored everything. It would still like throw random stuff at it, but I doubt, actually I'm not so sure, but I doubt like AFL would really perform in something like this well. Yeah, for a game, you tell the the fuzzer, increasing the x coordinate, like so moving to the right, is good. This is always what you want. And now the fuzzer tries inputs to always get the x coordinate further, and then it was good input. Yeah, and so they say they annotate. So now I wonder, like, what do they have to do? Like, does their annotation work automatically? Can automatically it recognize what is important state information and what is not? Or do you have to by hand say, this is, using the iJohn enable annotation, the green highlighted indicates an added annotation. Annotate version of the maze. Okay, so you need to annotate it yourself. You need to say, these are important state variables. We want to explore this as a state. Inside the main loop after calculating position. Okay, so here you say like, this is the goal. If that gets better, this is what we want. Okay, everybody, I think I don't know, this paper is so long and we don't read it anyway. We don't read it properly anyway. But I think it was a fun like look into the military paying a company to write, you know, a document about the current state of vulnerability research, what tools exist, and so forth. Any guesses? How much did this cost? How much did the military pay for this? So I don't know, obviously, what they paid for this. Maybe is there maybe a way how you can look up what this cost? Contract number? I don't know. Maybe you can look up these things. I am not aware, but I wonder what you are guessing what this would cost. Maybe we are lucky when we search a contract number. Maybe we can see how much this cost. Definitely not what I had guessed. I would have guessed maybe 50,000 or something. 50k. max. Maybe they were 2 people. Yeah, so between 30 and 50,000 I would have guessed this document. Stop it. What blocked here the scrolling? Nope, that was wrong. Okay, that did get it back. Hacker expertise can crush machine-assisted target exploitation. So, I mean, this definitely seems to be... I don't know how the US government works, but I guess this is a huge contract. And they are just a subcontractor of, like, I don't know. Oh, awarded vendor, 267. So that vendor was directly given that contract. But this is also, like, this document is version 3 of 4. So, yeah. And it definitely seems to be a bigger thing. I wonder what else they do. Can we maybe search for this title? Technical edge of the art. Funding, detail, federal transactions. This was in January, right? So maybe we can... Oh, there's so much money. Hey, do you not want to showcase your findings on YouTube? I take a fraction of this and throw it on my YouTube channel. Give me 1 million of this here and I present everything. I tell you about the state of the art of YouTube videos. What's secret about this? The clickbait is secret about it. Sorry, it's just clickbait. But it's this military document here. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. That was fun to explore. I think I will call it night now. Let's see. Bye-bye.